what if you've lodged your tax return and either you realised, your accountant realised that there's a mistake? What's the process? Or say the ATO even realises first.
Well, the ATO
What usually happens?
usually they send some sort of warning letter prior to doing an audit. And they were like, so a perfect example would be, I had a client recently who lodged a tax return. We asked them, do they have private hospital cover? They said yes. However, their kid didn't, right?
We
And
started on that.
yeah, so all dependents need to be covered as well
Yes.
when it comes to private hospital cover so that you don't pay the Medicare levy surcharge. We received a letter from the ATO essentially saying you may have reported this wrong. So we looked into it, we called the client and asked, and eventually we came to the conclusion that they are liable for the surcharge, unfortunately. So luckily on the letter, it actually says, if you lodge an amendment by this date, you're good. No penalties will come to you. We don't need to audit, just fix it.
That's right. So usually there's always a warning first. So you're not necessarily going to get any penalties from the ATO unless you're doing some severe fraud.
Yeah.
If it's a genuine mistake, minor mistakes, you'll be made to pay the tax or whatever it is, but maybe depends how long it's been. Sometimes there may be interest, but there won't be any penalties for genuine mistakes.
Yeah, they'll always charge interest. And
Yeah.
that interest is really hard to get out of, especially nowadays.
Oh, don't get me started. If the ATO is watching this, you are the lowest of the low in all of, not even Australian society, in the world. You are the lowest of the low. Not only is it bad enough getting taxed, you're going to get taxed at 47% plus your 10% GST. But Pat, if you have to repay or make a mistake, we're going to slap you 12% interest. And let's say I have a client still. It was his first time lodging BASs. Just set up a company. What was the situation? He had an opportunity. They said you need to be a company. He didn't know any better. He went online, set up a company, did all the registrations. It's his first time running a business. He's trading for about 6, 7, 8 months. He had an old accountant who never told him anything to do, didn't lodge anything. So he came over to us. We lodged 4 BASs for him, called him up to date. 4 BASs and his tax return. Total tax debt, probably $9,000. What did the ATO do?
Hit
First
him
year,
with 15K of penalties.
9K of penalties and 9K of penalties, just penalties, and then about 5, 6K of interest.
Yeah.
So on a tax debt of $9,000, they're hitting him with $15,000 of penalties and interest.
And good luck putting a remission in nowadays.
Oh no, okay.
The
Nowadays
rejection rate
it's
has
good, but back then I tried
increased.
calling.
Yeah.
I tried calling and explained the whole situation. And a normal, nice person, humane person, good Australian person would do is say, fair enough, it's his first time, he's up to date now. We'll wipe the penalties and interest. Not our lovely ATO. Biggest bunch of, I don't want to swear, but I really want to swear.
Swear.
Biggest bunch of you ever meet in your life. We have to probably cut that out. Bleep it. Bleep it. But the ATO are the worst of all people, all humans. I don't even think they're humans. So back then we could even call and request. Now, what's the process now?
You have to send a letter in, and that letter has to be at least 2 to 3 pages, and you need to explain the situation. There needs to be extenuating circumstances. No longer gone are the days where you could say it was a change in bookkeeping, change in accountants. Do you know how long it takes to change accountants?
Yeah.
Onboarding?
Well,
Do you
first
understand
finding a
what's-
good accountant.
Yeah, finding a good accountant, that's the big issue. You got to go see at least 3 to 4 of them,
Yeah.
right? Then they quote you. Based off those quotes, you need to make a decision on what's best for your business and you personally, right? From there, you need to do ATO nomination. You need to make sure that all your BASs were up to date with the old accountant. Most of the time, there's some sort of issue. There may
Sort
be
out the
ethical
bills, have to
obligations.
Pay off the old bills maybe.
Correct. There's always issues.
It could
takes
be a good 3 to 4 month.
3 to 4 month process,
Yeah.
right? In that time, you probably miss a BAS or 2.
Yes.
Let's be honest, right? And they're gonna just put a penalty on there. You can't even use that as an excuse anymore. Apparently, it's not extenuating circumstances.
Back when I started, so I started 10, 11 years ago, the remission process was then is you call, you speak to a human on the other side,
Yeah.
you explain the situation, and they decide whether it's fair enough to give a remission or not. And about 80 to 90% of the time, they would always give a remission. Now to today's process where you can't even speak to a human, you have to put a letter, a 3-4 page letter in, and I'd say 10% of the time you get lucky to get a remission, but 90%, I haven't actually got a remission accepted probably in the past year.
Michael, even if they do accept the remission, it's a partial remission. So they would accept the remission. I had a client who was 10 years delayed on her taxes, he or she. I shouldn't. No, it's all right. Someone that I know was 10 years delayed on their taxes. And there was a great reason. They actually were really sick and they couldn't lodge any of it. They were just not in the right headspace at the time. Doctor certificates. I sent in doctor certificates. I sent in psychology reports. I sent in pretty much all the information necessary. I even sent in a timeline from 2015 all the way to 2025 of exactly why they weren't able to lodge their taxes, and I got a partial remission. And that was a win for me. But luckily, I got a partial remission. Luckily.
Now, how much was the penalties and interest?
It was fairly steep. I think it was 120.
I have someone signing on right now. They told me they have 16K of ATO debt, of which 4K is actual tax debt. The rest is penalties and interest. 4K is a tax debt, 16K is a total debt. So the ATOs there complaining about their debt book. Their debt book is 100 billion now, with only expect to receive about 50 billion of it. Yeah. I want to ask them, when they haven't released this information, how much of it is penalties of interest, which you've charged yourselves? You're creating your own problem. They're 4 times more, $12,000 penalties of interest, $4,000 actual tax debt. And the ATO are crying about their debt book and they're struggling. They're killing the businesses.
They wonder why the economy is struggling.
They're the ones choking the businesses. They're choking small businesses. They're choking everyday Australians.
Yep.
And they're giving the tax breaks to the people. Oh, Woolworths can get their tax break, no problem.
Yeah.
Biggest companies.
Another client came from, let's just say, a not so great accountant.
There's many of them.
Yep. Oh, don't get me started on that. There was 9 BASs outstanding. Got them up to date. Did the 3 tax returns that were overdue. There was about 40K of debt there, right, between the taxes and the BASs. They got slapped with $1,500 penalties for each BAS, and they got slapped with interest. What's their tax debt now? 115K.
150K on a 40K tax debt. Yeah, all right.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense. They're the biggest bunch of dogs. Australian government dogs. The ATO are the worst people in this world.
Yeah,
the worst. The ATO... seriously, if anyone from the ATO gets to see this, you're working for the most worthless, pathetic organisation or government organisation in all of Australia.
I'm sure they do know, Michael. I'm sure they do.
How could you do it? How could you look at an application, this person has $4,000 of debt, 12K penalties, denied.
I personally think that it's so black and white now to which what they can and can't remit, that they've made it really hard for the ATO agent themselves to...
They've probably taken the power away from... Back when they used to call them up and say, hey, this is the situation, they just accept it on the phone. Yeah, no problem. Look, please make sure going forward, 100%, we'll keep them up to date. No problem. Now, maybe they've taken the power away from their agents. Maybe they... who knows? Maybe it's not the individual agents that work for the ATO. Maybe they've changed the rules for how they can assess it.
There's actually an article on the percentage of interest remissions that are coming through, interest and penalty remissions. I believe the acceptance rate was sitting at somewhere between 20 and 30%.
Recently?
No. So, sorry. The acceptance rate was 70 to 80%.
Yeah.
In our favour. So, almost all, or 4 out of 5 interest remissions were going through. Mm-hmm. Now they're saying that the rate is about 40%. What they don't factor in is that's based off an average of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's skewed a little bit. What they're really saying is we're not accepting shit.
Yeah. No,
we're not accepting shit.
I haven't got one interest remission accepted this year.
Yeah.
Or in the past maybe 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, it's been terrible. It's been so hard. And the problem is more businesses are closing down because of it. What else are you meant to do when you get 150K of debt from when you didn't even make 150K?
That's right. And now the interest is not deductible. So what are these people doing? They're taking out bank loans.
That's right.
Just so they can pay their ATO interest and penalties.
And those bank loans, unsecured bank loans, or they most likely are secured against their personal name, are sitting at 12 to 20% interest. It's not worth it. It's so bad.
Honestly, the biggest problem... Don't get me started now on garnishee notices and the ATO interfering.
DPNs. Have you seen how many DPNs have been issued?
Not even that. When the ATO has... Say, this exactly happened.
Can we explain what DPNs are?
depends
Or
on one thing,
garnishes?
but I'll
Explain
talk about
garnishes.
garnishes.
Yeah, sorry.
There's garnishes. In the old sense, garnishee was simply the ATO will say, "Hey, you owe us money," and they reach into your bank account and take the money out to pay themselves. That was, but now there's different types of notices that the ATO sends. So I had a client who, in a payment plan for their debt, he missed his payment. He probably made it less than 1 week late. It wasn't even that much, but the payment plan defaulted. And the same day it defaulted, they put a note on his credit record so that any of his customers who, when they search up his name, they see that he has a default on his name and they
What?
refuse to. He lost a contract, $120,000 contract, because that same day they pulled up his credit notice, saw that there was a default from the HO, and they rejected to do work with him because he missed the payment by a few days and cost the client $120,000.
Wow.
So this is the HO. This is the HO. Not only are they slapping you penalties and interest, tripling your debt, quadrupling your debt, they're interfering with your clients, with your customers and your suppliers so that you can't get any more work.
I had a payment plan actually rejected for a client that is super compliant, and they wanted a payment plan. They've defaulted once on a payment plan, but that was years ago. Ever since then, they've been squeaky clean. And we lodged their September BAS in November, which is fine because we get the extension and all that. And we try to arrange a 10-week arrangement so that it can finish by the time the December BAS comes around. But because there was debt there, they said that they are no longer a compliant company, so they hit them with monthly IASs. So I don't know if you know this, but if the ATO deem you as non-compliant or high risk, yeah, they'll change your IAS to monthly or your BAS to monthly if you haven't been paying on time.
And then you got to lodge.
And then you got to lodge monthly. And then there's more work for accountants and there's more work for the company, more fees. They get charged more. They need to make sure that it's paid they need to make sure that the monthly installments are paid on time. It's just
an
absolute nightmare.
Especially if you're in the trades, cash flow is your worst nightmare because you don't get paid. You're meant to get paid.
Your debtors are freaking 60 days. That's why.
Right. Or even then, they pay you 6 months later than they should, and that's just how the trades are, unfortunately.
And then the suppliers are pushing for 30-day terms. You're lucky to get 30-day terms in trades. It's putrid.
See, actually, now that you mention it, I had a client who their Amex, because of what the HO did to their record, their Amex was cancelled.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
So they weren't allowed to, now they don't have access to credit, they've got to pay their suppliers 30 days or upfront, but they don't get paid for 2-3 months.
Well, that guy's gone. What's he going to do? What's his options? Take a bank overdraft at 10 to 12% interest?
They're actually getting choked. All these businesses, the HO are their worst enemy. HO is Australian businesses, the HO is their worst enemy.
During COVID, they were all lovey-dovey.
All
the interest remissions in the world. Here's your business grant. Here's 30 grand. Here's 15
now they're
grand.
choking everyone to get every dollar back.
Every dollar back. We kind of saw it coming when we were writing those letters. Like we kind of knew.
Where are they going to get the money from?
Where are they going to get the money from? It's the future
money.
Australians that are going to suffer.
That's right.
I think Mark Boer has jumped on I don't know which show it was, but I just watched it now, and he's talking about there's only 2 ways they're going to recoup their money. That he reckons there's going to be more federal property taxes, which aren't currently in there.
We're paying ridiculous state taxes already.
Don't
get me started. I'm ranting on about the HO, but don't get me started about New South Wales government. Probably every state government. Oh my!
What about our favourite payroll tax?
Payroll tax is the worst tax that has ever been introduced.
Yeah, give me a second. Let me punish you for employing more than 1.1 million
Good
in
on
wages.
you. You know what? You have a business. You're giving people jobs. Now give us 5% of what you pay them. You bunch of dogs. You scum. So New South Wales government, you're just as bad with your stamp duty, your payroll tax, not to mention everything we pay for the roads, registration. I promise you, Pat. I promise you. I'm gonna check my budget now. Even just, I'm not a business owner. I just want to check how much of what I earn goes to state and federal taxes.
Yeah. So the rego is state tax.
Yeah.
Stamp duty is a state tax.
Yeah.
Then we've got, let's be honest, everyone cops fines, right?
Yeah,
like
fine. No,
I'm
you leave your car for 10 minutes too late, you cop, there's $200.
it's $200. So there's fines. It's not tax, but it kind of is.
There's a few $1,000s a
It's
year.
a few thousand.
It adds up. Honestly, it adds up.
Where the hell are you parking, mate?
Especially people like me, I'm forgetful.
I'm a bit forgetful as well. And
I leave my car for an hour or two and I'm doing something, or I'm out with friends and you come back and you're like,
$300. Yeah, and then it's over. That night just doubled in price. Anyways, so you've got those three. What else do we have?
well, then not to mention your 40 to
Let's not talk about land tax and all
37 to
that.
47% of your income is already gone.
Yeah, so then we've got federal taxes, which include your marginal tax rate, which most people are paying. Let's say the average guy is paying 30 cents.
30 cents.
32.
Plus Medicare, 32.
Then we got Medicare levy, 2 cents. Then the surcharge, which is
That's a separate issue. Which I'm going to discuss.
How do you get done for private health hospital cover when you're covered, your wife is covered, but then
You had a kid, you forgot to change your cover.
You forgot to change your cover. And,
So let me
and then you need to
explain.
pay the full surcharge.
Let me explain this
The
to some
full
people.
surcharge.
So if you and your spouse earn over $200,000 and you don't have private hospital cover, then you have to pay the Medicare levy surcharge, an extra 1 to 1.5% on your taxable income. Let's say you're earning combined $200,000. That's in 2 to 2.5 grand extra. So is that correct?
How much?
1.5% on 200.
Yeah.
2 to 2.5.
2.5.
Now, I had a situation, husband and wife, they had private health cover. They had kids, so the cover was auto renewing every year. They didn't know that they had to update it for kids, and they just had the kids. It was only 1 year. The kids are 1 or 2 years old. The ATO turns around and slaps them and says, "Hey, you have to have your kids covered as well in your private hospital cover. So you were paying a few $1,000s anyway in your private cover, but now we're going to charge you an extra $2,500 for the last 2 years as well, because your kids weren't under your cover." And then we went to him and said, "Look, the kids are very young, just born. They didn't know. Can they seek leniency?" Now they're covered. They've corrected it. Covered. Can we seek leniency? Rejected, no. Objection. Rejected, no. So now they have to, not only were they paying private hospital cover thinking they're doing the right thing, now they're going to have to pay an extra $5,000 for whatever they're paying it already, and now they have to double pay it. If you're in Sydney, you have a mortgage, you have kids, where are you going to find an extra spare $5,000 to pay to the ATO?
Everyone's going, no, it's not
It's a joke.
happening.
It's a joke.
It's not happening.
That's the ATO.